You're listening to the Behind Ears podcast because everybody does Disney differently. The Behind Ears podcast crew would like to thank the following sponsors for their generous support. Hey everybody, it's Mr. Chris, and I got to tell you about Expedition Roasters. Listen, I'm a pretty big coffee drinker, just like a lot of you are, but these people have got coffee right. Their coffees are made from selectively sourced premium and specialty grade Arabica beans. They provide the absolute best flavor and aroma, and select roasts even come directly from a single estate farm for a truly perfect cup that is never bitter. They've got awesome Disney-inspired flavors such as Roundhouse Roast, Route 66, Skipper's Brew, Dark Side Roast, Redhead Rum, and one of my favorites, Bobsledder's Brew. Listen, if you want to have the taste of Disney in every cup, give them a try today. ExpeditionRoasters.com, and Behind the Ears podcast listeners gets an extra 20% off your first order by using the coupon code EARS20. That's right, EARS20. And you can find them over at ExpeditionRoasters.com. Brew your happy place. If you have a little one and you're going to Walt Disney World, you're going to need a stroller. I'll tell you what, KingdomStrollers.com is the place where you want to look into. I'll tell you, I've destroyed my fair share of strollers while at Walt Disney World, and those things are not cheap. But getting something from KingdomStrollers.com, they'll be able to help you pick out the perfect stroller for you. And the nice part is that because they're a Disney preferred provider, they'll be able to drop it off and pick it up right from your Disney resort at no extra charge. So if you don't want to necessarily destroy your stroller in the process and you want to have a great Disney vacation with your little one, contact KingdomStrollers.com and they'll set you right up. That's KingdomStrollers.com. Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the Behind Ears podcast. I'm Mr. Chris, your host tonight. And Uncle Danny will be here momentarily. He is stuck at work. Oh, what a terrible way to end the day. He actually sent me a message a little bit ago. He's like, dude, I gotta go. I'm not be able to make it. I gotta go do something for work. I'm stuck at work. I'm like, that's okay. Got you covered. So I'm here doing a little bit of a solo. And that's okay, because I've got all of you here that are watching us live to kind of join me in this conversation. I'm actually going to talk about my recent trip, which was 9 days of Disney awesomeness. And boy, I got to tell you, it was really a super awesome trip. I really have a hard time actually describing it because it was pretty awesome. A lot of different things happened during this trip, and it really has to deal with some of the nuances of it, so to speak. We tend to take a trip sometime in the summer. This week was no different. Or I should say this past trip was no different. Just so everybody has a little bit of idea of the dates, our trip started on Sunday, June 24th, and we actually came back extraordinarily late on July 2nd. So yes, I was around for the opening of Toy Story Land. We talked a little bit about that. On the last episode, but we'll probably still touch base a little bit more on that later. Now, the interesting part about this is that not only was it my family of four, but I had my son-in-law to be join us, who has never been to Disney before. And so we had to kind of think about this in a different way. We had to plan our trip in such a way where we had to accommodate somebody who likes Disney, but has never been to Walt Disney World, has never been to Disneyland. And, I asked him before the trip, I said, what do you think you're going to expect from this? He goes, well, I really kind of want to get an understanding of what all this magic is about. What are the things that makes it magical? And I really honestly think that is a very valid question. Think about it. We who are seasoned people, seasoned veterans of Walt Disney World, we tend to actually take it for granted. We go, we have a great time, we see the magic, we live the magic, we're a part of it. But what about those people that go for the first time? And I was really hoping that he was going to really see it the way that we did. And I'll get more into that towards the end. So I will shout out and say, yes, Jen, he got a first visit button, but we were prepared. We actually had a first visit button from our first visit to Disneyland. We let him borrow that until we were able to get him, his own Walt Disney World celebration button. It was really super cool. So here, let me go ahead and tell you a little bit about how this whole thing transpired. So that week before we left, my son was at a camp, so he was camping the entire time. Friday, I had to go pick him up in Michigan. I didn't get home until really late. Saturday, we had to finish up our packing. We had to pack really compactly because we were actually flying this time instead of driving because we wanted to have a longer trip, so we flew down. And we had a really super early morning flight on that Sunday. It was like a 5:40 a.m. flight. And what we usually tend to do before, crack of dawn flights is we like to stay at a hotel near the airport. Now, when we fly out of O'Hare, this is easy. We stay at the Hilton right there at the O'Hare airport. Really easy. At Midway, which we flew out this time, I picked a Hilton branded hotel that was like 2 blocks away. And that worked out really well. So I'll tell you what we did. We decided we were going to start off with a bang. We left middle of the afternoon. We went down near the hotel where we went ahead and we watched The Incredibles 2 at one of our favorite places to watch it at, or watch movies at in that area. Just so happens to be that way. Which I thought was really kind of cool. We had dinner there too. And so by the time we got to the hotel, it was a little bit later. It was almost 9 o'clock. It was just getting dark. And so we crashed at the hotel. Didn't want to use our swimsuits or anything like that. And we just said, okay, let's just go ahead and get some sleep. So about 9:30, I fell asleep. Now you're probably saying to yourself, well, that's great. Chris is going to get a good night's rest. Oh, nay. I woke up and I said to myself, wow, I feel great. I feel like I'm really refreshed. I feel like we're going to get going. And the part that got me is I looked over at the clock. It was 11:45. And I'm like, you've got to be kidding. You have got to be kidding. I felt like I was really, really, refreshed. I felt like I slept for hours. I slept for just over 2 hours. I knew I was going to be in trouble, to say the least. I was going to be in trouble because I knew I wasn't going to get back to sleep. And I was right. And so I already had the idea that we were going to get up just before 3 o'clock. And I'll tell you more about that in a minute. And so I did everything I could. I played on Facebook. I rolled around a little bit trying to get into a comfy position. I even went down into the lobby to play around at the business center. I just couldn't fall back asleep. So about 2:30 rolls around and my wife gets up and she's like, do you think it's time to get up? I'm like, yeah, why don't we? So we actually left a little bit early. And yeah, I will tell you this, Trisha, you're absolutely right. It's just like a refreshing nap, except I really wanted more sleep. So And it wasn't even the fact I was too excited to sleep. I'm the kind of person that if I take a nap in the afternoon, I'm just totally and completely, I'm just totally completely messed up. So we get up, we leave our hotel about 3:15. It takes us about 15 minutes to get from the hotel through some late night, early morning traffic, however you want to put it, to get to the parking, like the economy parking, because I wasn't going to park like it's still on airport grounds, but it was cheaper if I parked over in the econo lot. And once we got our stuff, we had to go ahead and wait for the shuttle. And another family that was going on a cruise, not a Disney cruise, but going down to Orlando on the same flight, kind of, came up next to us, and we started talking with them, laughing about how late it is, and so on and so forth. Get into the airport, everything goes smooth as silk. Check the bags, go through security, not a problem. Okay, I mean, I couldn't be happier. And so, get on the flight. Completely full flight. Flying Southwest Airlines, which I had really no problems going down. And, in the middle of the flight, they served some soda, some snacks. I slept on the plane about a half an hour. Arrived in Orlando half an hour early even. It was or maybe 15 minutes early. Felt like a half an hour. And it was wonderful. Got off the plane. Did some post-plane activities, if you know what I mean. And we started our way to the Disney's Magical Express. We only waited about 15, 20 minutes for our bus. And just, things were going really smoothly. We go and we check in at Animal Kingdom Lodge, Kidani Village. We drop off our bags with Bell Services since our room wasn't quite ready. I mean, it was only not even 11 o'clock yet. So I knew the room wasn't going to be ready. I had no intention of thinking that the room was going to be ready. So we decided, let's explore the resort a little bit. Let's show Casey the resort, because we've been there many times. And so we went ahead and showed him the community hall. John showed him the arcade, because my son loves arcades. And so we went outside, and it was already hot, like really hot. Went outside, watched some animals and this, that, and the other. And then right when 11:30 came about, we walked over to Sanaa and had our, celebratory lunch, which all I got to say is this: bread service. Oh my gosh, it was so good. I had my favorite, which was the tandoori chicken. My son even tried the Sanaa burger, which he really, really liked. Absolutely, and everybody just had something different. It was just such a wonderful meal. Great way, because we didn't really have any breakfast, so we were starving. It was really good. And as for what kind of room that we have, we actually had a 1-bedroom villa, which was perfect for us. And, being Sanaa was our first place to eat, we just really thoroughly enjoyed it. So, from there, as I said, we already had our bags dropped off. We knew that, the room probably wasn't going to be ready. So we ate, as we ate, we just kind of took our time, we relaxed. And by the time that we were done with our lunch, our room was ready. And we're like, wow, cool. So we went over and dropped off our, got our luggage that we checked in with Bell Services, got it, went over to our room, checked it out, made sure it was cool. I actually changed into a lighter pair of shorts because I actually had a pair of jean shorts on for traveling, and went out to Hollywood Studios for our first day. Now, the thing about Hollywood Studios is I know this is all pre-Toy Story, and we did quite a bit there. We did like Muppets, and we did Muppets. We did Toy Story Midway Mania. We actually did Fantasmic that night, and a few other things. But it was kind of immersing Casey into this. And the cool part about seeing his reaction to a lot of this was just, he started, this is my interpretation. He may tell you a little differently, and I hope to have him on the show sometime soon, but to get a firsthand, approach of this. But he really, truly enjoyed, just the ambiance and everything else like that. Fantasmic is one of our favorite shows. I mean, Fantasmic was one of the first shows that we ever saw. And so it kind of has a special place in our heart. I think I will always like that show. I really do. They changed up the story. No, they didn't really change up the storyline. They changed up how the story is told just a little bit every year. And so we went ahead, and it was just like, we had a really late day there, but it was a whole heck of a lot of fun. Now, keep in mind, because we had DME and all of our bags and stuff like that, we kind of just allowed our bags to get there. We went and enjoyed Hollywood Studios. We came back. We actually took a quick dip in the pool because it was hot. It was just completely, hotter than hot. But we kind of expected it. And, it was just one of those cases. But the thing is, it was Casey's first show. And I think he really enjoyed it. Now, we all enjoyed it. We had some really good seats. They weren't too far down. They were kind of somewhat in the middle, just like off to the right. Not too bad. Of course, I don't think there's really a bad seat in the house there. And I've been on both sides, front, top, middle, everything. I really don't have any problems with it. But it was a long day. I mean, if I really didn't sleep, I'm running on next to nothing for sleep. So all of us decided, okay, been a long day. Let's go get some sleeps. So that's exactly what we did. We got some rest. For our second day, I'm trying to think what we did. For dinner. Unfortunately, I didn't take very good notes, but I think that's right. Duh. We stopped by the back lot, and we kind of split a few different things just to kind of enjoy some of the different items. And we kind of it's kind of an inside joke with our family. Totally, completely love chicken nuggets there, the chicken tenders. For some reason, they're so good. It's just so good. And so we did eat dinner there. And yes, Gail, we did do the wave. It was actually totally, totally cool. Now it was Judy. I'm gonna give you a little funny. Judy says it was hotter than Haiti. Funny part is, I have a friend of mine who's in Haiti right now. I'm going to compare notes with him when he comes back. So the thing of it is that, like any other day in Florida, it started to rain, which I just thought was kind of funny. And so we went ahead, donned our ponchos, and kept on going. Because we don't wait for no stinking rain. We keep on going. And it actually cooled off quite a bit afterwards. So we did Fantasmic, went back to our resort. And we just got a really good night's rest. Second day, we started out at Sanaa for breakfast. Now, for those of you who have never had breakfast at Sanaa, you ought to try it. Because it's the kind of breakfast you order, you sit down, they bring the food to you. It's kind of like in between table service and counter service. It's kind of like what they do for some of the other restaurants. And we really enjoyed it. I mean, Casey got like some oatmeal because he's really healthy. I got a breakfast sandwich the one time. It was good. But Casey, Virginia, and I split a press pot of coffee, which is like this real good Kenyan grown coffee. And, okay, so here's the deal. A little more expensive than usual, but we each got a cup it was about a little bit more than a cup for each of us. And it was absolutely delicious coffee. Oh, It is just really, really good. I superly enjoyed it. Superly? But I still superly enjoyed it. It was really good. And the sandwich I had was really good. John really liked his, and John's a little picky of an eater. And we all just, got really stuffed eating breakfast. Because we knew we were going to go out for a safari of sorts. That's right. Our second day, we went to Animal Kingdom. And just really super enjoyed it. Now the thing is that it was a really hot day. Let's see, I'm trying to think. It was a really super hot day there. And for some reason, I have to answer this one. Nancy asks, is that where they have the banana bread with the hazelnut spread? Oh, yes. Yes, it is. And I guarantee you, we had it more than one time while we were there. It was absolutely fabulous. So we went to Animal Kingdom. And Kathy got us some fast passes. But the coolest part to it is that, we had fast passes for Flight of Passage. We had fast passes for the safari. I'm trying to think what was the other fast pass that we had for. Oh yes, we had a fast pass for gosh, why do I have a total complete Rivers of Light? Why do it's like every once in a while this will happen? So we did our Flight of Passage fast pass after we after we all did a single rider for Expedition Everest, and it was really, really good. But then we did Flight of Passage. Okay, I'm gonna admit something here. I gained a little bit of weight since the last time I've been there. I was actually really concerned whether or not I was going to make it on Flight of Passage. I did. I'm just gonna go right to the point. I made it on. Not a problem. But what was really cool was Casey got to experience it firsthand, and he was just blown away by that attraction. And that was just like, he's getting hooked. That's the way I thought about it. He was going to get hooked, which was really, really cool. But I was a little bit concerned about me. I already told my family, I go, listen, me, that I'm, 6 feet tall and 300 pounds. I was like 6 foot even and about 300 even last year. So, and, I still made it on, but Casey was just like, oh my gosh, what did I just experience? And it was just really super, super awesome to have him have that kind of a reaction to an attraction of all things. So, some of the other things is that, he loved Everest and so on. We also went on, the safari. Now the safari was really cool. Only thing is, I will say this, I noticed there were no lions on the safari at that time. I don't know if they were hiding because it was so hot or what, but we had a really good driver, and it was really actually pretty solid. And it was just like, wow. It was a completely, it was like a completely awesome, safari ride. But we knew that we were going to also try the safari at night. So that's just something we had to take into consideration. So I will tell you this though. One small problem happened. This is kind of more my fault than anything else. One of the things that we did is that we went on Primeval Whirl. And we kind of got it in a way where it's like my wife and I got put on the same side of the ride. And we kind of squeezed ourselves in there. Because as I mentioned just a moment ago, I'm a big guy. Well, here's part of the problem. The cast member is like, "Are you sure you're okay?" I'm like, "Oh yeah, I'm fine. No problem. We've done this before. Yeah, ha 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 ha." I did something to my back. And it's not the cast member's fault. It's not Disney's fault. It's my fault. I should have said something. But I messed up my back really bad. And so that was like, ouch. But and for the rest of the trip, I was a little stiff at some points, but no big deal. Now the thing is that I'll go ahead and mention this. I'll just throw this out there for John. They have a nighttime safari where they kind of mimic moonlight in the safari. Now, I will tell you this. It is a different type of experience because first off, if you try to take a picture, don't bother. Just don't. Just don't bother. Extraordinarily difficult to take a picture. But it does give you a kind of a perspective of what a safari looks like at night because it is different. A lot of the animals sleep standing up, and it's really cool. But I'll get into more of that later. So let's see. That, and then that, and then I'm gonna have to check my notes again. But we ended up going to back to Animal Kingdom. Sorry you hear the noises in the background. It is the 5th of July, and my neighborhood decides that it would be great to do fireworks on the 5th of July instead of 4th of July. And that is going to be really hard to edit out. So if you're listening on the podcast and all you hear are the booms in the background, my apologies. It's just one of those things. But the thing is that when we went on it for a moonlight effect, it was actually pretty good. And I think they've improved it since last year. Because last year it was like really harsh in some places and too dull in others. So that was one of those things. So we're going to get into more about that in a minute. So we actually afterwards, we did kind of take a break. We went back to the pool a little bit. We actually got a little bit more pool time in this trip than we have in past trips because it was so hot. We really just wanted to enjoy some downtime. And it was a very wise decision for all of us. So, and if you can't hear the fireworks, I'm glad because they're coming in really loud here in my office. Let's see. Nancy's asking, would you go out of the way to do the night safari again or skip? My daughter wanted to do the nighttime safari. So we went ahead and, we did that sort of thing. Cause we actually did another day at Animal Kingdom that also included breakfast at Tusker House. Oh yeah. Breakfast at Tusker House. I love breakfast at Tusker House. All the different characters there and the food is just fabulous. Oi, walked out of there, rolling out of there. It was really big. And yes, we were at the Kidani pool during those times that we did our pool time. And I'll be honest with you though, we were actually careful about the kinds of things that we ate because we knew that because it was hot, it was going to change a lot of our appetites and how we felt after we ate. We stayed away from a lot of the... Okay, I'm going to say this with humor. We stayed away from a lot of the sugary stuff until nearly the last day. And I'll explain that in a minute. But we did have breakfast at Tusker House one morning. And what was cool is that we actually got to have some of the lunch items as well. Except they didn't put out all the lunch items until like right after we were getting ready to leave. We're like, oh, bummy. That was like bummer. But it was one of those cases where we had a really nice meal, great service, really just had a nice time. And but I will also say this, we did take advantage of a lot of free water. I don't think we bought a single bottle of water while we were there, mainly because we just went to places that we were able to either A, refill our water bottles, or B, that we just asked for cups of ice water at places that serve fountain drinks, and it's free. And it really helped out because we needed to hydrate. That was a big thing. Hydrate, hydrate, hydrate. Or as my son would like to say, during the times where, when he was in scout camp, hydrate or dihydrate. Go figure. And to answer another question from Nancy, what time did they switch over? We usually get like a 10:30 reservation, and they switch over just after 11. So that's the way it worked out. And did we get the resort mug? We got one resort mug because pretty much everybody liked to drink water, but my wife liked to drink soda. And so that's what she did. So we got one refillable mug. And actually refilling the water, I don't notice a difference. I know everybody talks about the Florida water versus good water, Tina. Usually if you get it from, behind the counter, it's actually pretty good. It's pretty filtered and it's really not a problem. I didn't do any, I'll take that back. One time did I refill from a water fountain because it was very much needed. And so that was the only time, and I was so thirsty. It could have been just bottled sweat, and I probably would have drunk it. I know, that's disgusting, but it was really bad. So, and I'm just going to go ahead and throw this out there. Brian has been kind of giving us some updates on what Toy Story Land is like, and I'll get to that in a minute. He's now currently saying, hey, there's only a 15-minute wait for Slinky and 10 minutes for AS2, and it's fun, and I have to agree. Let's see. Wouldn't it be nice to use the refillable mugs at the parks that would cut down on waste? I got differences. I got some different things that will be during another conversation. I'll go ahead and chime in on that a little bit. So, and I want to give a shout out to Stan. Hey, Stan, how's it going? All right. So here's the deal. We're approaching Thursday. Okay. And also the other thing, on Wednesday, we did go to the Magic Kingdom for the first time. And I got to tell you, funny. We did a lot on that first day at the Magic Kingdom. But we also made some mistakes. We actually walked a little bit too much because our planning wasn't quite exactly what we really wanted it to be. And the interesting part is, of course, one of the first things we did, because we got there kind of late, first things we did is that we were going to go get Casey's corn dog nuggets, but it was just still a little early. Casey's wasn't quite open yet. So we went over to, we went over to Splash Mountain because we thought we had a fast pass for it. Unfortunately, my wife made a small error, and she thought it was like a 10:35 Splash Mountain. It was actually an 11:35 Splash Mountain. So here's what we did. We got up onto the Walt Disney World Railroad. We got a train. On the train, I pulled out the My Disney Experience app. I mobile ordered corn dog nuggets and a footlong hot dog, fries, drinks, the whole shot. I went ahead, ordered it there, submitted my order from the train. I will tell you this, it was a little slow. I don't know if it was my phone or what, but it was a little slow. And so by the time we got all the way around to the Main Street station, we got off, and it was hilarious. I'm like, how am I going to know? How am I going to be able to tell them that I'm here? I was literally 5 feet away from the edge of Casey's, and my phone beeped. And it basically said, welcome to Casey's Corner. Would you like for us to place your order? Well, yes, please. Bink. And I went ahead and placed my order and like, okay, your number is, there's it. And it was really cool because I walked in. My family went to kind of scope out some seats. And probably within, I'm going to say 5 to 7 minutes. And it was really busy. 5 to 7 minutes. They called my name out. It's kind of funny. They were calling some people's numbers, but they called me by name. I don't know what the deal is with that. And got my order. And we actually had a couple orders of corn dog nuggets, fries, as well as a footlong hot dog. Now, I want to tell something before I get into the corn dog nugget awesomeness. I want to tell something a little bit about the footlong hot dogs. And we actually did this twice during this trip. Danny and I recently commented on the footlong hot dogs and how the bun was more like a hoagie roll than an actual hot dog bun. Well, I don't know if they've purposely changed this or what have you, but the bun that we had for our footlong hot dog was an actual hot dog bun and not a hoagie roll like it has been in the past, including last year, which I thought was a 2 thumbs up improvement, Casey's. That was pretty awesome. And yeah, Jamie, I probably am on a first name basis with Casey's Corner, so we'll have to figure that out. Also, I didn't know it worked on the Apple Watch. That's actually really pretty cool. And oh yeah, it's because I'm a famous podcaster. And speaking about awesome podcasters, I want to give a shout out to Jimmy. Jimmy, how you doing, my friend? Good to see you here. And so we ate, we hydrated, we ate, and it was Casey's first time eating Casey's corn dog nuggets, and he was like, "Yeah, these are pretty good." I'm like, "Just pretty good?" He goes, "Yeah, I like them. They're good." I'm like, "Okay, good. You can stay in the family." So, but see, and Jimmy, that was the part that was kind of interesting. I was looking at the same way because I had the same complaint as you that the footlong I had the last time also had too much bread. And this was a regular bun. So I was a little surprised. I don't know if it was some kind of a rolling change. Did they go to backup bun suppliers? I don't know. But I am hoping that it is, kind of like a new change, a new thing. Because those hoagie rolls, they really didn't do that hot dog justice. I just didn't care for it. And so it's one of those things. This was good. It was a good hot dog. It was a good experience all around between mobile ordering and the time getting my order, how easy it was to get my order. The order itself was right. It was excellent. So by all means, way cool for Casey's. So we enjoyed that. That was our first dining experience with mobile ordering. So then we actually walked over to Splash Mountain, and we enjoyed a nice splash on Splash Mountain. And I think from that point on, Casey and I were kind of whistling the the theme song to that for a good part of the day. Then we also did Tiki Room. And after Tiki Room, we always liked Tiki Room. And we kind of chose Tiki Room because it was a short wait and it was really getting hot, kind of middle of the day. And we thought to ourselves, we really needed to get somewhere where it was going to be able to cool us off. Now, afterwards, we thought, hey, let's get some Dole Whip. So I thought, I'll do mobile ordering for Dole Whip. This is where mobile ordering didn't quite work out for me. Because, again, I don't know if it's my phone, internet connection, or what. But it was one of those cases where it was so slow I couldn't pull up a menu. And I was not too happy about it. So we actually ended up skipping that. We did that. We did that later. Let's see. I know I keep on seeing that. People saying that Danny is in the room, which is totally, completely awesome. And I'm going to go ahead and make sure that my partner in crime can possibly join us. So give me one quick second here and see if he can actually join me. Because I would love to hear some of the things that he has to say as well. So give me one quick second. And as you know, we are a live and unscripted podcast recording, so everybody gets to enjoy this at the same time as everything else. So let's see if Danny's able to join us. So, and yeah, I hear now, and Jimmy, you're right. I now hear that you could bring a Dole Whip into the Tiki Room. So I also agree. Tiki Room is kind of a must do. I mean, it's fun. It's nostalgia. And at the same time, it's a nice cool break from everything else. So it is just it's really pretty awesome. Um, so Danny will be here in a little bit. He needs to take a shower, he says. Please do, Danny. We appreciate that. Besides, a fresh Danny makes for good streaming. So that brings us up to Thursday. Here's the interesting part. Thursday was the first time we ever did a non-park day. A day that we just did not enter a park the entire day. So let me tell you a little bit about how this went. We had I think it was a 9 o'clock. Yes, it was a 9 o'clock ADR over at Olivia's over at Old Key West. Now, if you really think about this, you may stop to say, why would you want to go to another resort for breakfast like that? Well, my friends, let me tell you something. They have a wonderful breakfast selection, including things such as waffles, as well as banana bread French toast, as well as crab cake eggs Benedict with a key lime hollandaise sauce that I had a taste, and oh my gosh, let me tell you something. I always tend to get the banana bread French toast, and it never disappoints. And it's just absolutely wonderful. I had a bite of the crab cake eggs Benedict, and I think the next time I will have to go and get that. So we decided that we were going to go ahead, that we were going to go ahead and get a minivan for that trip going from Kidani Village over to Old Key West. Now, I will tell you this in full disclosure. I had a $10 coupon from Lyft, which if you have coupons from Lyft, or if you're able to get a Groupon or anything else like that, they work with minivans. They work, minivans just act as any other Lyft ride in essence. And so my ride only cost, now he shows up. Let me finish the story really quick. So the thing is that my ride for Lyft for the minivan only cost $15. We got picked up about 6 minutes afterwards and had an absolutely wonderful driver named Debbie. Picked us up in a brand new Traverse, and all 5 of us were able to fit comfortably in there and took a nice jaunt, about 15-minute ride over to Old Key West. And they had wonderful music, Disney music playing in the background. And it was just really super cool. And the breakfast, as I said, the food was just absolutely phenomenal. Danny, have you ever been to Olivia's for breakfast, or any other meal for that matter?
No, I've actually never been to Old Key West.
It's really a wonderful resort. I mean, in the sense of, that is a hidden gem of a restaurant. And I actually got recognized over there by one of the cast members. It was actually pretty funny. So that was actually kind of cool.
No, that was not a quick shower. There was no shower.
Oh, is that why your hair kind of makes you look like animal?
This is how I work every day.
There you go. So that was really cool. And the thing of it is that we go there and the service is wonderful. The food is absolutely fantastic. But the cool part is that at right at 10:30, the boat started running to go to downtown Disney. And so we had breakfast. Probably 10-15 minutes later, we hopped on a boat and took a nice stroll down to downtown Disney. And so we did a couple different things. First and foremost, the girls had a spa day. That's right. They had a spa treatment. I guess they were going to have like a leg and feet treatment type of thing going on over at the spa at Saratoga Springs. And as for us boys, We went to the Void, where they have the VR experience, that is like the Star Wars VR experience. And oh wait, Jimmy mentions that he heard that the fried chicken at Olivia's is fantastic. I'm gonna have to go there for lunch again, because I did have something there for lunch a couple of years ago, and it's really, really good.
How is that VR?
Oh my gosh! Let me tell you something. The experience at the Void was excellent. Absolutely phenomenal. From the minute you walk in, you start getting into an immersive type of situation. And the storyline is that, you're basically a part of the Rebel Alliance, or I'm sorry, you're a part of you're basically a stormtrooper. And you have to basically get, you're kind of a disguised stormtrooper is what it is. And you have to go and get this particular item that is being smuggled. Now, the interesting part is you go in, you register. I did prepay our admission fees, because there is a limited amount of space. And you go and you do a pre-show of sorts. Before that, though, you kind of you get get a wristband and everything else. You do a cool pre-show, lasts about 5 minutes, kind of explains a little bit about what your task is going to be. And then afterwards, they put you in a queue, and you kind of wait your turn to get fitted with this vest of sorts, as well as this VR helmet that's actually made by Oculus. And
okay.
It's a big helmet, but if you've seen any of Oculus's higher end stuff, this is, it's powered. This whole thing is powered by Oculus Technologies. And so, you put it over kind of like earmuffs. You have a visor visor and eye part that comes down, and there's a microphone where you can actually talk to your teammates. And you pick a color. You pick a color of what you want, what color trim, so to speak, you want your stormtrooper to have to help figure out who's who. So once they, and by the way, I will say this, I was a little concerned about this fitting of the vest bit, being a bigger guy. The guy looked at me and goes, listen, if you can't get the bottom buckle on, don't worry about it. It's the top 3 that you really have to be concerned about. I said, okay, fine. Okay. I'm like, okay, click, click, click. So
the third one was still tight, though.
The third one was still tight, and I carry most of my weight around my mid.
So the fourth buckle was not even
necessary, because most of the pads that provide vibrations and tactile feelings and stuff is like the upper 2/3 of your torso.
Okay.
So I looked a little weird, but it worked out. And so they bring you in to this darkened room, and this is where you put your visor down. And once it comes on, you feel like you are transported into a whole new dimension. You start, as I said, you can hear you hear all the stuff that's going on. And for those who want to know where it is, it's over by Wolfgang Puck Express, over at the older
carousel?
Yeah, kind of by the carousel, kind of tucked away. It's not.
That's new then.
It is new. It is new in the Springs. But the thing of it is that it's like using an older building. And the interesting part to it is that it doesn't have a lot of hoopla on the outside. I mean, it has the Void logo, and that's about it. I mean, if you didn't know what it was, you wouldn't know. I mean, you'd be totally oblivious to what it was. So as we start out, put the visor down, and I knew that Casey and John were standing next to me. And so I turn my head and I see stormtroopers in their colors. It was Casey and John standing next to me. But what I saw was stormtroopers. So I took my hand, and I could see my hand is looks like a stormtrooper glove, but it has my color on it, which is blue. And I could actually touch Casey and John, and you could see me touching their head, type of thing. It was a completely immersive experience. And I'm not going to go through the whole thing. I'm just going to, because I don't want to spoil it, because it really is one of those things that you just got to do for yourself. But like, you walk in and you see that, we were supposed to sit down. I walk in and I see a bench in this graphic. I'm thinking to myself, is it really there? Do I really sit down? And I kind of had to put my hands behind me, like, oh, there is a seat here. I'll just sit here. And you were able to feel things like heat. You were able to feel, smell things as well.
Really?
And at one time, this is a little bit of a spoiler, and I apologize, but it just goes to show, I walk in and no one tells you what to do.
Are you moving during all this?
You're moving between rooms, and that's the fun part about it. I mean, it is.
You're see not doors, stationary.
No, you're not. You go between rooms, and you look down, and you may be on a bridge, and your mind is saying to yourself, "Holy crap, you're on a bridge!" Your mind is playing main tricks on you because you're being immersed in this. Well, at one time I look down and I look over and I see these blasters in a rack. And I looked over at Casey and John. I'm like, hey, here's some blasters. Let's see what we can do. And so I reached out, and sure enough, it was a blaster. I picked it up, and I had a blaster in my hand, physically and virtually.
Oh, there was one in real life.
It was. Whatever I picked up was in real life.
Okay.
And so I picked another one up and I handed it to John. I picked another one. I handed it over to Casey. We're like, and all of a sudden you were supposed to be quiet. And I think one of us accidentally pressed the trigger, and of course it shoots off and you see where you hit and everything else. And you're like, oh, oops. And you hear the character that you're like working with goes, well, that was subtle. Mm-hmm. So you go through this, you go through the rest of it, and it's kind of a little bit of a shoot 'em gallery. Not gallery, but you have a little bit of a shoot 'em up thing. You do meet some characters, and there are some challenges, and you kind of have to work as a team. And it's best if you do this as a team.
How long is this?
Okay, so that was the only thing I was going to get to here. So we were in and out in about 50 to 55 minutes, and
that's a good experience.
But hold on, but wait. My only complaint is that your game time was about 15 minutes.
What did you do for the other 45?
You're either doing the pre-show, you're suiting up, you're getting a picture taken, and you're in the queue waiting for your turn.
Oh, that's terrible. You only get 15 minutes in game?
It was only about 15 minutes. But it was an immersive 15 minutes. And so here's the thing though. Would I do it again? I think I would. And so like to answer Mary's question, it's about
be my next question.
So the thing is that the cost was about $30 a person.
Not terrible.
Okay, it's not terrible. Really, it's not. In fact, to tell you the truth, for a very unique experience, it was mind blowing. I mean, we all walked out of there going, "Holy crap, that was awesome!" In fact, I'm gonna have to go ahead and spoil this for everybody. Not really spoil. I'm gonna help everybody out. When you check in and you say "The Void" when you check in, they will give you a free digital picture of your group.
Just say "The Void."
Just say "The Void." And it was kind of funny. I said that because I saw it on a bus, on a bus poster in one of the Disney transportation buses. And so I said that, and he goes, "Oh, I see you found our secret code word somewhere." I said, "Yes, I did. Can I have my picture?" And he's like, "Absolutely."
now pay me.
Yeah. So, I mean, it was, as I said, it's a total of just under an hour long, 45 minutes, 55 minutes. Some people have said. And as I said, it's $30 a person. And I know there are some discounts available for like either AP holders. I know cast members also, but I think you have to not pre-register. So you kind of have to do it like a walk-in. Okay. But I will tell you this, if you have like a group of 4 people or more, you can have 3 or 4 people or even more. You can have a whole heck of a lot of fun with it. It's a really cool VR experience. And I really felt like I was in the mix.
Okay.
So going to the Void was definitely, something that was, something I really enjoyed. And the thing here's so Stan, I want to touch on this. You said you'd do it again now that you know what to do. The interesting part to it is that would I do it again if it was the same storyline? I don't know, because I don't know if I do anything differently, does it change the storyline? But The Void is kind of a franchise, and they have other places like in Vegas and New York City and stuff like that. And their storylines are different. Like one I guess is either a zombie or a something else kind of storyline. Would I want to do something like that? I'd try it. I'm almost hooked on that technology. And, so it's not Star Wars everywhere, but at Disney Springs it is. And I really, as I said, I really enjoyed the tech with that. So afterwards, we kind of walked around a little bit, and I'm going to probably start pausing here because I'm only halfway through and we're already eating away an hour. And so the interesting part is I walked around with Casey and John, and we went to World of Disney, which was a shell of itself still at that time. So we just kind of walked through there a little bit. Went through the Lego store. John found a chess set that he wanted, all Legos, which, by the way, he's already built and played a game on it. And the funny part about it is it was on sale. It was cheap. It was half the price at the Lego store versus Amazon. And I said, sure, we can go ahead and get that. And then I thought to myself, how the heck am I going to get this thing home? So,
yeah,
but we figured
we figured
it out. We met up with the girls, and they had a really good time, but they think that they would do a different procedure. It wasn't as calm and soothing as the massages. It was a little bit more, I'll say there was more conversation between the massage therapists and Kathy and Verge than I think that they wanted. They still enjoyed it. The legs felt really, really good. And even one of them took a little bit of time away from the legs and actually rubbed Kathy's neck and scalp and stuff like that, which she just absolutely loves that sort of thing. Mm-hmm. So the interesting part to it is that afterwards we kind of cooled off at the pool because it was getting really super hot. Casey ran into an old friend of his. And I thought I was the only person running into people I know. Casey actually ran into a friend of his that works at the Dunkin' yo-yo stand over there by T-Rex.
I've been dying to buy something from there.
Oh my gosh. I'll
drop Casey's name. Don't worry about it.
The guy is, I'm going to drop his name. His name is Noel, Noel. And he is a professional yo-yoist, yo-yo athlete. And he actually goes on tour for Dunkin'.
That's a good company to work for.
Yeah, I mean, he's actually he kind of like gets paid by Dunkin' corporate. He's not some person that's getting paid, $10 an hour to stand at a kiosk. I mean, this guy's a professional. So if you want to really get into yo-yo type stuff, yo-yoing, this guy, he knows his stuff, and he's there practicing. He's doing all these really cool things, and he let Casey try one out. Because I didn't realize this. Casey was like big into yo-yo stunts himself. Okay. I'm like, okay, that's kind of cool. So we actually talked to that guy for a while too, and that was actually really kind of slick. We went to Disney Style, which is like, the best way to describe it is, and actually this is the description that the cast members gave us, was like, it's almost like a millennial, a store for millennials that want to do Disney bounding. And they had a whole bunch of different things there. All I got to say is I could have easily have gone broke there. In fact, I'm going to say that there is a particular listener that I know is going to probably be going down there relatively soon, that I think that she needs to lose her debit card before she goes.
Let's go. I know someone that saw you.
You okay?
Yeah.
Do I know
guy I work for? I booked his trip, and he comes up to me today, and I was, he got back from his trip. Just, why email somebody when I'm going to see you at work,
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, man, how was everything? Did anything I could do, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, your podcast partner. I said, yes. He's like, he was just in Disney, right? I was like, yes. He's like, did you tell everybody where you stayed?
No, I only started off with, Animal Kingdom.
Okay. So he said, was he at the specific hotel? And I said, yes. He goes, yeah, I saw him and his whole family. I was like, did you say hi? I was like, I work with Danny. Like, Danny booked my trip. He was like, no, dude, that's just awkward. I was like, fair enough. I respect that.
Well, the funny part is, and I kind of mentioned this a little bit during my not so coffee break earlier today. It was really cool in some ways, being recognized by people and running into other well-known Disney content creators, being recognized by them as well as me recognizing them. I got recognized by a lot of PhotoPass people, which was just really pretty cool. And we did a lot of PhotoPass stuff. I mean, seriously, Memory Maker. Oh yeah, we get our money's worth out of it big time. And I actually have to respond to some messages because I basically said, hey, I've got to send people swag because I ran out of swag. It was really pretty cool, but.
Oh yeah! Did anybody say they didn't get their stuff yet?
There's one person the one piece of one prize that got sent back to me because of an incorrect address.
Oh no, I didn't know if mine. Well, you were away. I sent that.
Someone made a mention that they did get their coasters and stuff.
Oh, hooray!
Cool. Yeah. So, but I think it's good. This is a good point for me to pause a little bit because, this is only Thursday, and I still have Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. And I got to tell you something. Monday is going to be kind of a trip, but I know I already talked a lot about Toy Story Land, and there are some things. Now, I will tell. I do say this before I go. I want to pull the option of extending our time here together a little bit because I did get one set of questions from a listener earlier today, and pardon me, I'm not ignoring you, buddy. I'm pulling it up on my phone here really quick. Because I don't know if this person wanted to stay anonymous, so I'm going to leave her anonymous, but she is watching. She wanted to know, she had like 4 questions, and I think these are great questions. Is there anything that really surprised you about Casey's reaction to anything on the trip? And Casey being my son-in-law to be. I will probably say that there were a few times I kind of looked over at him during some of the fireworks and like illuminations and stuff like that, and Phantasmic and stuff. And I saw the look in his eyes, and he was just so enjoying it. He was just so, I don't want to say impressed because that's really the wrong word. He was really getting himself immersed into what he is seeing and what Disney can provide. And I think that was something that really, I'm not going to say surprised me. I was glad to see it. And keep in mind, Casey really didn't have to, he comes from a big family. And so this is a first time of doing this type of a trip. And I think that it's, it was something that he really appreciated and he really felt immersed to it, which I thought was really cool. This person also wanted me to talk about Art of Animation because at this point we're also getting ready to leave Kidani Village because Friday we actually checked into a car suite of Art of Animation. She wanted to know the good, the bad, and the ugly. I think this is going to be quick. Here's the deal. I like Art of Animation. I think it's a really nice resort. We did have a car suite, which was, it's a little bit different than some of the other suites that Disney has available for, like All-Star Music has some family suites as well. Here's the deal. You have a queen bed in like a master bedroom with a TV. It also has one bathroom with a shower, not a tub. It has a couch that pulls out into another queen sleeper. And that's where my daughter and my son John slept on. Really nice, comfortable bed. The tables, very similar to the tables that we are seeing at some of the other value resorts, where it kind of pulls down and the table goes away and it turns into a bed.
Oh, yes.
Casey slept on that, and that was actually really, really cool.
They're comfy.
He said it was very comfortable. He said he didn't have any issues with it, and it even has a little bit of a light where it has like a dimmer light that you can have over it, which was really cool. It had a picture of Mater sleeping behind it. It was very well themed room. It wasn't cartoony. It had a picture, kind of looked like artwork that would come from the movie Cars, and I thought that was really cool. The drawers, at least in the main, living room, so to speak, living/sleeping room, looked like tool chests. Something like I would have in my garage. The decor was just so well done. It had a nice sized fridge. It had a microwave. Had a little kitchenette that way. 2 bathrooms, 2 toilets. The room was small, but it was very well laid out. I really liked it. We were right near the pool. And also I will say that when you walk into the car section of art animation, you really feel like you're walking down the streets of Radiator Springs. You can, if you love that movie, you're going to love that part of Radiator Springs, that part of art of animation.
I see that.
It also has a small quiet pool that still had lifeguards there, which I thought was cool. And it wasn't too far of a walk from the main building. All of it, I'll be honest with you, I don't have really a bad thing to say about art of animation, because last year I stayed there at a Little Mermaid room, which is like a standard value room. Okay, it's not a suite. It was fine. I knew what I was going into. It was a value room. It was clean. It was comfortable. It was nice and cool. The beds were okay. I think the beds were better in the car suites than there were at the mermaid rooms. But again, beautiful decor. And it's just a whole lot of fun. The food court, loved it. I had a chicken parmesan actually I had it 2 nights for dinner there. And it was really good. I had omelets, made to order omelets in the morning. Fabulous. Casey had some sort of a satay scramble of sorts. It's like a tofu with vegetables and stuff. Casey is a very, very health conscious young man. That's why he looks like he does. I look like I do. So it was one of those things. But it was really, really, the food court was really well done, and it held a lot of people. And actually, Mary is asking, why did I do a split stay? Being a DVC member and having enough points to stay at a 1-bedroom, stayed from a Sunday through Friday, was a lot cheaper point wise than staying a whole week there. So we do a split stay. So yeah, I do have to pay for that room cash wise, but it worked out well. Yeah, I need more points. Yeah, unfortunately, I don't need to pay for more points right now. But yeah, DVC point limits, that type of thing. Let's see. But I really enjoyed it. Now, I'll tell you this, we walked over to Pop Century for dinner one night. It was a mistake. A big mistake. The food court is smaller.
Where, Pop?
At Pop. The food court is relatively smaller, and they had a lot more teen groups there. Okay. That was a problem. Because all of a sudden, we were there, and we got caught in a group of probably no fewer than 350 girls that were from out of the country. It was chaos, and we're just like, we're eating our food and getting out of here. And the food wasn't as good. It just wasn't. We had some different things, and it was good, but it wasn't as good. So But that was the only mistake. I'll be honest with you. Art of Animation, right now, my favorite value resort. By far. I'll stay there again if I can.
Okay.
I've also enjoyed All-Star Movies. But right now, and I've stayed at Pop, and it's okay. I like Pop. Don't get me wrong. This is just probably a fluke. But Art of Animation, now my favorite. My favorite value resort. But I think at that note, I think we probably should stop there. Danny, I don't know. I know you came in late. Do you have any? Oh, wait. Let me just answer the last couple quick questions. Again, I'm sorry we're running a little bit later. Did I do rope drop every morning? And what end of the day did you schedule fast passes and why? Being a 9-day trip, did you take any of those days completely away from the parks? As mentioned, yeah, we did have one non-park day, but we also had plenty of time away from the parks. Didn't do rope drop once. Just didn't do it. We just couldn't. We had so much going on. First off, we were just tired at some points. We just didn't do rope drop. Most of our fast passes were either late morning or early afternoon. That's just kind of the way we schedule it. And that way we can enjoy the afternoon for whatever it is. And if we're able to get in early, then we can do some things without fast passes. And what is the best new food that we had on this trip? I didn't mention it. Actually, I forgot to mention that we did have an Epcot day. And I will probably say this. Right now, as I stand, we loved going to Teppanyaki over in Japan. And it was absolutely stunning. It was fabulous. I drank sake for the first time. And it was smooth. It was good. And one of my other favorites is that I tried the grapefruit beer in Germany. Oh, yeah. That was good. But were they my favorites? Well, I didn't try anything really too super new. I will say this. I did try kakigori. I tried kakigori, which is that shaved ice in Japan. And on a hot day, oh my gosh. Yes, it's worth the head rush. So,
okay.
Do you have any questions before we go? And this is, going to be a part 1 of 2 probably, but I didn't know if you had any questions.
I gotta go. I got things to do.
All right. Well, here we go. You heard the show, and we hope you want more. Well, feel free to join us over at our social media platforms. Instagram and our Facebook page can be found at Behind the Ears Podcast. Our webpage is behindtheearspodcast.net, and our email is behindtheearspodcast@gmail.com. And our Twitter handle is @BehindTheEarsPC. And come and join the conversation about all things Disney over at the WDW community page. Don't forget to rate and review the show over at iTunes or Apple Podcasts, as it really helps us get the word out about the show. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the show on iTunes or Apple Podcasts or the Podbean app. Also, you can listen to us on Stitcher Radio, iHeartRadio, TuneIn Radio, and via Alexa and Google Home.
Thank you, everybody, for tuning in to another episode of Behind the Ears Podcast. I didn't really have to talk at all tonight. This was wonderful. These are my favorite shows. I hope you all enjoyed part 1 of Chris's trip report. Listen, Chris will say it's going to be a part 2. It's probably going to be a part 7 by the time he's done.
No.
Chris loves it. Hey, man, they're informative trip reports. I'm more like, I came, I ate, I conquered, I went home. That's the extent of my trips. But I hope it was very informative. I know we kept an audience for quite a while tonight, so awesome job by Chris. Hope you all have had a wonderful 4th of July. And if you didn't get to celebrate yet, go out this weekend. Have a blast. With that being said, have a safe and wonderful weekend. I am Uncle Danny. Until next week.
And I'm Mr. Chris. Yeah, this will probably be just another part to this. It'll be a little bit shorter, I promise you, with some things that we haven't done before, a little bit extra information on Toy Story, and some of my interesting experiences at Midway Airport. So I'll tell you what, you really want to tune in for Tuesday. Don't forget to share us with your friends. And by all means, thanks a lot for joining us. And if you have any questions about my trip experience, drop us a line over at behindtheearspodcast@gmail.com or drop us a line over at the Behind Ears Podcast Facebook page. Well, thanks again, everybody, for joining us. Really, really super do appreciate you being here tonight. Thanks for sticking around for a little bit of an extended episode. And until we meet again, we hope you have a magical day. Take care.